No, I thought something interesting on TikTok slash Twitter that someone called Count a Pirate of Comics posted something so interesting that the cartoon community reacted not in a positive way, but yet sort of interesting because he posts why they're all trying to make a furry slice of life cartoon a thing, specifically more indie than anything else. Even that people sort of double reacting, sort of clowning on this guy, saying, "Why are you asking that specific question?" Because during that time, more like Mickey Mouse or before a Mickey Mouse, animals basically slice of life always been a thing. In fact, it's sort of a genre with a subgenre with a sub-subgenre sort of twist on them. Even that you can have different flavors of this sort of understanding of this sort of question. But yet, I find it fascinating because a lot of people did have some interesting sort of commentary of that. Even that this question is idiotic, it is interesting to see how many different takes they actually got it. And this is the reason why I want to make this video, sort of breaking down my thoughts and the community thoughts doing this sort of specific question. Now, before I get started, my name is Recho. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, through reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, or sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine. If you do, thank you. Because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People who like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now let's break down this sort of kind of interesting or respond answer of the community. Now, let's get started. Just to clarify before I fully start, that using animals as people or they talk, do their own thing, always been there. You could watch it in sort of a fairy tale, sort of novel, comics, manga, books, like Fox and a Hound. They always been there the beginning. Like even our caveman ancestors doing drawings on the wall to tell stories about animals, sort of communicate with other animals. It's always been there. And this is why a lot of people sort of memeing on this guy, because his response was super, a little weird, let's face it. But the responses, it was sort of kind of fun because super obvious also. Like someone put like, yeah, like a furry slice of life is not a thing. And he put a regular show sort of post. There's another one who posted every single like cartoon with animals slice of life in a show, like for example the Looney Tunes shows, Rocker Mighty Mice, Tough Puppies, Wee Bears, Garfield Friends, Tiny Toon Adventures, and a regular show, and etc. They even plus even more stuff if you choose to look it up nowadays. But most of them just sort of memeing about the guy. There's another good one that's basically, oh no, the furry slice of life cartoons, why are they trying to make it a thing? And they posted every little live cartoon animal show that was popular in the 2000s. Even that sort of ironic, not words. But if and then the end of that, but I love it. The few people responded with a completely not ironic sort of question, but an interesting sort of take make this video completely worth making. Like Dorkamations, that he made a very interesting comment. Like every time they use animal characters to sort of make a sort of thesis or whatever video they make, but the only problem is they sort of misunderstood using sort of an animal. In fact, he's sort of breaking down, sort of comparing sort of BoJack Horseman and Ren and Stimpy. And BoJack Horseman, you know, they're animals who can talk, but you're still sort of wondering why nobody really questions it and why they still offering animals to eat in front of them. That sort of kind of does not make sense. But yet you understand they never use truly the animal theme of a sort of animal slice of life. Like keep breaking down to Ren and Stimpy, who are actually act like animals, but they can talk, but they use them when they think they need in society. That itself wouldn't make a difference of someone using animals for a good reason, and people just use the animals because it's sort of kind of lazy, in other words. I put his post right in front of me to get what he's trying to say. And the truth is, it kind of is. Because if you don't know, every time you make a cartoon, they always give the same sort of kind of helpful tip. Write what you know. So basically, write about your childhood or your college life or your high school life, but use animals. And that is just super effective because it makes it easier to people to relate to, but also the animals is sort of a double-edged sword. Choose the right animal to be sort of your bully, like a shark, and it makes more sense. But sometimes using that shark don't really use that motivation the right way because it doesn't really rely on the animal sort of instinct. And this is sort of the issue of making slice of life cartoons, trying to figure out which direction to use. A better example is sort of Beastar and Zootopia. Both shows sort of commentary of societies, but one you sort of do not judge the person how they looks or what type of animal. The other one is sort of just the animal what it is because it's a necessity or instincts of that animal. Both do the same thing, but both go completely different directions. This becomes sort of a subgenre or another genre on the same sort of pool of genres you're trying to do. And this is why people sort of love it or hate it if you know what you're doing or actually like what you're actually doing, in other words. In fact, another commentator I want to bring on put a very specific answer of this question right straight to the mouth. In other words, she called the creator out saying, you prefer your purposes while actually understanding there are different genres. And that's basically what this person says. In a way, it's kind of true, even that the curator did admit he was sort of trolling people to get a reaction. But even that is sort of true. People prefer sort of genres, not the rest of them, because they sort of kind of close off, know everything around them because they know better. Even that's completely wrong. There are dozens of different genres, a dozen of different tastes. People don't like it or do like it, depends on your own preferences, but you have to be sort of open to be more better writer, better animator, or the reason why you make that choice for that specific cartoon. Now, there are another commentator made a very business sort of approach of this answer that posted saying, yeah, if you choose a sort of animal, you can lead the animal or character to be any coding type of character. It could be Asian, Black, or Korean, and you don't know because the very end is an animal. You accept it, understand. Something like Darwin for the War of Mason Gumball. People approach that character as a black character coded. That could be possible because how you feel, how the characters react. Of course, that's all about how people's own opinion of that character because it works. Because of this, they don't need to be sort of stereotyping or make this sort of kind of accidental racial sort of commentary by accident that always happen or become sort of completely updated over the years or expired of this show. Because let's face it, watch any random show with people, for example like Shaolin Showdown, and you watch this. I remember it was hilarious, but I do wonder, it feels kind of racist or weird sort of character choices of the each single race. It just sort of ponders in your own mind, even that you're trying to shut off, enjoy the show, the action, the comedy. Even the comedy is good, you still have the sort of, well, it feels kind of questionable, and you don't deny it because watch a couple episodes, you see it, you're like, I know they did not do this on purpose, but sometimes it sort of happens, even that it's sort of ironic. Now words, that's why they always prefer animals, because animals are just sort of reinterpreted on your own type of flavor, because the very end is sort of your interpretation, and your interpretation could never be wrong, only if you trying to hurt a certain race or make a statement that could be very racial or something over sexualized. But at the very end, it's all about their interpretation of that person. Now, my conclusion on this, I feel this was sort of a good sort of exercise to see people's opinion why they think this is a good idea, or how they approach it, or how they see it in general. Some people see it in the business tactic, people see different ways to tell a story, or people just love animals because it's easier to be attached, and it also helps you to understand how to use them in story. But at the very end, they are very reliable and useful. It just depends how you kind of approach it. The Beastars, Zootopia way, or even Ren and Stimpy way, try and be in the middle of the everything. But at the very end, it all depends what type of writer, animator you really are. And that's basically it. I have nothing really else to say, just one question. How you felt about this? Do you feel this was sort of overblown, or you feel this is just sort of a fun little exercise? Tell me down below, let me know. I got nothing else to say, just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.